a group of people from the community, wider community, from business and the wider community, contacted me about 5 weeks ago and said we'd like someone to run against the current mayor, Lianne Dalziel, because they didn't feel that the city was being run as well as it should be. There were things that aren't good, and that's basically what my policy is all about. So I said, well, give me 2 or 3 days to think about it. I went and had a look myself and saw that yes, there were a number of things that weren't good, not just the rates, but the quality of the water was poor, the roads and footpaths, all the basic infrastructure was in bad condition, and the priorities were all wrong. So I decided to, yes, do my bit for the city and for myself, and stand up and put my hand up. So yes, I've been in this mayoral race for about 4 weeks now, with another 4 weeks to run. So it's been a 2-month campaign. So yeah, it's been exciting, enjoying it. I come from the business sector, and so I'm not left as in Labour, and I'm not right as in National. So I've got no political allegiance. I'm just down the middle and here for the good of the city, not for the good of the parties. I'm passionate about Christchurch. I love the city. Whenever I've worked overseas, I've always come back. I've always commuted, so I've always lived here, always come back every month, and my family have always lived here. I'm not a politician. That's a big thing. I'm part of the people because I am one of the people. I'm not a party. The whole thrust of my campaign is about moving Christchurch forward. And we've got this booklet here, which everyone should get a copy of or see it online. And when you look at it, it talks about moving Christchurch forward. It talks about going back to basics, common sense, and doing things that are right for the people. And that comes down to the first, which is the 0 rate increases. And for me, that's about no longer are we going to keep increasing the rates. For the last 6 years that Lianne, the mayor, has been in the position, the rates have gone up 49%. That's just not good enough. There's nothing worse than having to drink chlorine in your water. And there are even young children now that are being affected by water, by the chlorine in the water, with eczema and other issues. The problem with the water is that it needs a water safety plan signed off by the government, and they're not going to sign it off because this council have delayed fixing the pipes and getting the wellheads lifted or elevated above the ground. If I got into power, obviously I would fast track a lot of what needs to be done, and there's a commitment needed from government too in helping that eventualise. I'm the only one that's campaigning that actually has crime as a major issue, because it's not just the Chinese community. I've been speaking recently with the Indian community, and they get robbed every week. For me, it's about more police patrolling the streets. It's about better lighting, so there's no dark spaces. More cameras around the streets that are monitored. The transported infrastructure. It's just an absolute nonsense that we have cycleways. The original budget was for 68 million. It's now at 252 million. Unacceptable. And yet there was a lovely cycleway right beside where the footpath was broken. Fix the fundamentals, fix the basics first before you get into something that's a nice to have like a cycleway. So that's for me a big one. I'm not against cycleways, but as I said before, for me it's a matter of priorities. And cycleways are a means of obviously getting people out of cars and onto bikes, and it's future proofing. But it's going to take time. It's not going to happen in the next year or two where people are going to get out of their cars and go onto bikes straight away. But at the same time, we've got to look after people before we get to that point. So there's a balance, and I just feel the balance is not there when you move from 68 million as a portfolio of spend some 7 years ago to 7 or 8 years ago to what we've got now, which is a commitment to 252 million of which 80 million of that is still to be spent, I'm saying stop that spend of 80 million, put that on hold, get the roads, the footpaths fixed, sort the water out, the basics of life. You know, it's about our basic human right to have water that's drinkable and pristine clear. It's to transport ourselves in any shape or form, not to be forced to be on a bike. The bike cycleway scenario is there for the future, but unfortunately it's been built for a city far bigger than what we are. We've got 381,000 people in Christchurch, of which there's 168,000 that are ratepayers, and those 168,000 ratepayers have to actually afford existence with rates and taxes and cycleways, and the cycleway has been built for a population far bigger than what we've got. It's been modelled on cities that are 5 and 10 million in population, and that's just too big as far as I'm concerned. Reducing the carbon footprint comes in many forms. We've unfortunately over the last decade or two we've taken trees out of the urban space. We need to get it back. So we need plantings, we need more green space, we need to grow green buildings. For me, I went down the path of geothermal, which is environmentally friendly, and the byproduct of that can be used in other forms. Same thing goes for the solar system. We hopefully commit to more electricity and more hydrogen and more basically emissions-free transportation going forward.
The rates staying at zero increase, it comes back to how we manage our expenditure, how we manage our income, and how we are looking to prioritise our projects. And for me, it's a straight case of understanding what is a must-have as opposed to a nice-to-have. And for me, nice-to-have are the cycleways. And yes, we've built so many. I'm saying put a hold on those. Don't stop forever, but stop for now so we can get our infrastructure right, the must-haves, which is the roads and the footpaths and the water, and making sure that we've got the water sorted. It's about maximising and optimising the income streams from the assets. It's about managing the expenditure through a budget zero base, and it's also about managing the expenditure from within the council. There's going to be some change this year. There's 54 people standing for 16 positions. In having my skills in business and governance around the table, being able to, I suppose, manage the councillors and govern with the councillors, I think being one vote, that'll be one team. There's 17 of us, as in the past it hasn't been one team. And I'm very enthusiastic about the new councillors that are looking to come on board, because and I've already spoken with a number of them, and very keen to embrace my policies. Another aspect that's really important for me is the connection of Christchurch City Council with the other councils in Canterbury, because you can bring visitors into the country from China, from Japan, from wherever, direct into Christchurch. It's where they want to go, and they want to go not just in Christchurch but to the wider Canterbury area, and make sure they've got that relationship with the other councils to bring those visitors another destination experience.